wintry show, stay at the all-suite Omni Hotel, located in the heart of Chicago's magnificent Mile. Guests fly our official carrier, American Airlines. This winter, ski the Rockies with American, Vail, Jackson Hole, Crested Butte, Purgatory, and Steamboat Springs. American Airlines, something special to the slopes.
Good afternoon, I'm Barbara Riles. Leads are pouring into Superior Police as they try to track a possible serial arsonist. And Duluth's Spirit Valley neighborhood is bustling with activity and bursting with pride this week. We'll take you there live next on Live at 5.
Live from Channel 6. You're watching the Northland's #1 newscast. This is Live at 5 with Barbara Riles and meteorologist George Kessler's weather. Now, Live at 5.
Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. A recent outbreak of unexplained fires has authorities on the hunt for an arsonist. Angela Wang's been following this story. Angela, what's the latest in this investigation?
Barbara, since yesterday when authorities announced a $5,000 reward for information leading to the arrest of the person or people responsible for the fires, authorities say the phone calls have been pouring in. Today, investigators were busy checking out all those leads, and they say it's encouraging that they have so many new directions in which to go with the investigation. There have been 5 suspicious fires in the past 11 days, and all of them are still under investigation for possible arson. After the church fire Wednesday morning, authorities announced the $5,000 reward, but officials say even if there weren't a reward, they still believe the community would have pulled together.
Well, I think it's a good incentive for the community to let us know their information. I'm sure a lot of the people would call anyways, even if there wasn't the reward. It's their community and they want it to be safe.
Investigators are working around the clock to find the person or people behind any of those fires. Barbara.
Angela, is there anything that people can do to protect themselves from the possible threat of arson?
Barbara, authorities say residents should keep a watchful eye out for any suspicious people or unusual activity, and if they see something out of the ordinary, report it to the police. Also, remember to lock your doors, including your garages and sheds. Back to you.
That's good advice. Thanks, Angela. After a long night of battling a fire in a crashed plane in Newark, there's nothing left but the cargo plane's skeleton on the runway. The Federal Express plane crash-landed and cartwheeled down the runway, coming to rest upside down. It then burst into flames. The 5 people on board escaped the wreckage through the cockpit window. They suffered only minor injuries. The airport, however, was shut down for several hours. The nation's largest shipping company might be halted in its tracks tonight. 190,000 UPS workers are threatening to strike at midnight if there's no agreement between the union and the company. At issue, pay, pensions, and the use of outside contractors for work. If there is a strike, about 80% of the nation's ground delivery service will grind to a halt. The strike would produce an overload that would probably be too much for the company's nearest competitor, Federal Express, to handle. The Western Lake Superior Sanitary District may soon be spreading processed sewage from its Duluth plant on area farm fields. A public hearing in Duluth will focus on why this change is happening tonight and what it means to each of us. Jason Rice has this report.
For almost 2 decades, the Western Lake Superior Sanitary District has burned sewage sludge using garbage as fuel. Now, due to aging equipment and less garbage hauled to the Duluth plant, waste managers want to use processed sewage for farm fertilizer.
Because we are modernizing a system for a relatively small cost, less than what it would have been had we continued with the old system. And we are taking a resource and we are using that resource for another positive purpose.
Revamping the current incineration system would cost taxpayers nearly 4 times more than building all new biosolid management facilities. In the 80s, townships banned sludge spreading because of the smell. Now, that smell could save taxpayers millions.
The advantage would be the cost savings via the fertilizer bill. If you had a cornfield or reed canary, grass, or an oat field that would consume nitrogen, this would be a good product to go on it.
In Duluth, Jason Rice, Channel 6 News.
The public meeting set to get underway tonight at 7 o'clock at the WLSSD offices in Duluth. The Wisconsin State Fair opens in Milwaukee today. The state's oldest and largest annual event showcases agriculture and recreational activities. The hottest selling item at the fair is the cream puff. Last year, more than 220,000 of the delicacies were served. The State Fair runs through August 10th. Well, Mr. Food's cooking with one of our favorite cheeses, and the mystery behind the deformed frogs is getting stranger. We'll tell you what a Minnesota researcher has found next. Taking a look at news from around the region with our Up North newspaper network, the Daily Press is reporting the Bayfield County Board has approved plans for a joint police, fire, and ambulance dispatch center with the Ashland County. The center will be placed in the new Ashland County Jail facility. And the Pine Knots reporting the Cloquet High School football and track complex will be named after a former athletics director. Raul Romberg served in the position from 1973 to 1991. The facility will be dedicated at a football game this fall. A University of Minnesota researcher says many of the deformed frogs he's studied have extensive internal abnormalities in addition to missing or extra legs that have been reported over the past several years. He's found grossly distended bladders, digestive systems that didn't work properly, and deformed testes. Scientists have speculated the deformities may be caused by pesticides or other chemicals, or ultraviolet radiation, parasites, or some other undetermined factors. But the whole situation remains a mystery. A consumer group is calling for caffeine content labeling on products like those required for sodium and cholesterol. Representatives for the Center for Science and the Public Interest are petitioning the FDA to require the labels.
The weight of the evidence indicates strongly that caffeine can pose a health risk for millions of Americans. We are asking the FDA to take two actions. First, we're asking the FDA to require that the caffeine content be disclosed on the labels of all foods that contain significant amounts of caffeine.
Food manufacturers are against the idea, saying caffeine is safe and therefore requires no warning. The FDA does advise pregnant women to avoid caffeine, but the agency has not been able to pinpoint a real population risk. Well, George is up after the break with a look at our weather forecast. He'll be coming to us from Spirit Valley. But first, Michelle Lee is here with a preview of our 6 o'clock news. Michelle.
As a new group of crack dealers from Chicago targeted the Duluth area. The latest bust by police has netted 45 grams in Duluth. Angela Wang will have more on this crack cocaine story. If you live in Minnesota, you'll be paying less in property taxes next year. And Barbara, your special report begins tonight.
Michelle, it's a heartbreaking story about a woman who thought she was buying her dream house in Duluth, but it turned into a nightmare that has left her homeless.
We'll be seeing you down at Park Point at 6 for that story. And also, some sand sculptors were busy on the beach today. We'll show you what they were up to. All that and more coming up at 6. Barbara?
Thanks, Michelle. Now let's take a look at what's coming up on the NBC Nightly News tonight at 5:30.
I'm Tom Brokaw. Tonight, your parents did it. Almost everyone does. Talking to babies like this.
Yabba, 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 yabba.
May sound silly, but it's not. New findings show babies are actually learning something very important. Watch NBC Nightly News tonight.
George Kessler is out in Spirit Valley Days having a great time. I hope the weather holds up for tonight's events, George.
I'll tell you what, Barbara, we're going to work hard to get the weather nice, but I'm watching some low-grade clouds moving on in over Spirit Mountain. You know, you always hear the expression, did it rain on your parade? There may be a little rain moving into our area. However, if they march quickly, might be able to get the parade in before the trouble starts. You know, those thick clouds and that gusty wind really did help keep the temperatures down. High today only 73 degrees, low 56, which is precisely where it should be. Normals 77 and 56. There are your record high and your record low, your sunrise and your sunset. Temperature right now, not bad, 72. Room temperature in most parts of the world, a little warm for some Northlanders. Winds out of the southwest at 15, gusting to 21 miles an hour. Pressure 30.20 continues to fall. Relative humidity is 59%. Numbers across the region, no one's complaining. Notice that it's a little cooler over in Brainerd. That's because it's raining. That's that rain-chilled air effect. 65 degrees, 76 in the cities, 72 degrees in many locations right around us. 69 International Falls, and 75 over in Ironwood. Warm spot, not surprisingly. In central North Dakota, 85 at Bismarck. Let's take a look across the country. You will rarely see a map like this It is the total hotspots. Look at that. 80s, 70s, 80s, 70s. Just striped United States. It's because high pressure has rolled over once it came out of Canada. When that occurs, I'll tell you what, things become quite difficult in forecasting the weather because everything is all jumbled up. It's going to take about 4 or 5 days before everything gets back to normal. Let's put some clouds into motion. We'll talk a little bit about the weather systems. You can look there on the southeastern coast. There's an active front, lots of showers and thunderstorms. But once you get a little closer to home, you see Minnesota and Wisconsin. That band of cloudiness is associated both with a warm front and a cold front sliding on into the region. Both of those will be coming through tonight. Now, the northern parts that haven't been terribly active, but central Minnesota has seen a fair share of rain developing this afternoon, and that area has been increasing in not only coverage but intensity over the last couple of hours. Take a peek. Here's the national radar. We'll take the clouds away, substitute a few radar echoes. More showers and thunderstorms along the front range of the Rockies. But again, what will draw your attention is that big blob of blue in the middle of your screen moving through Minnesota. Again, some heavier showers now around Brainerd, moving into Aiken and Pine counties. But if you watch the overall movement of that patch of rain, it was heading due northeast earlier this afternoon. Now it's taking a turn off to the east. So I think much of the range from Grand Rapids on over to Virginia, on over through Tower, Embarrass, Babbitt, and Ely, you will miss out on many of the showers, which is a shame because those are the driest locations in our area. Let's go in a little closer. We'll put this into motion. Here it comes. Starts off the morning over by Huron, South Dakota. Watch how that fills in. But it takes a turn right about Mille Lacs, and now it's heading off to the east. I think northwestern Wisconsin, you have the best chances of seeing rainfall. I think the Twin Ports, and specifically West Duluth and Spirit Valley days, will be right on the northern fringe. So even if it does rain, if we're lucky, it'll just be a few passing sprinkles. As you look farther to the west across North Dakota, that's the cold front, which will slide on through. By tomorrow afternoon, if we take a look at the forecast map, there it is, stalled out just south of our region. Now, we're still going to be close enough to that boundary that there could be a few clouds and perhaps a scattered shower or thunderstorm, especially across northwestern Wisconsin and then Pine, Carleton, and Aiken counties in Minnesota. But if everything goes okay, for the most part, it will be a nice afternoon. So let's wrap it into a forecast. For the overnight hours, temperatures upper 50s to lower 60s, not as cool as it has been the last couple of days, with scattered showers, again, mostly across northwestern Wisconsin, Pine, Carleton, and Aiken counties. Then for tomorrow, a late-day storm is possible. Temperature is still toasty, but the humidity levels will start to drop away, and as we move on ahead in the week, we will see the humidity decreasing, and next week looks like a repeat of the first part of this one. Barbara.
Thanks, George. Just to be safe, folks, take your umbrella to work with you tomorrow. In sports, the Packers are back in action tonight. They'll host New England at Lambeau Field. Tom Hansen joins us with a game preview.
Tonight's game will be the first meeting between the two teams that squared off in Super Bowl 31 last January. Green Bay also beat the Patriots last August 24-7 in a preseason game at Lambeau. The Patriots have since made a coaching change, allowing Bill Parcells to go to the Jets. Pete Carroll is now in charge of the Patriots. The Minnesota Vikings will host the St. Louis Rams on Saturday night. Today, the Vikings announced that tickets for that game are now 2 for 1 through tomorrow. Anyone buying one ticket at the regular price can get another ticket at half price. The deal is available at Ticketmaster outlets and is good for any available seat in the Dome. And the Twins' Brad Radke continued his winning ways last night as he won his 11th straight game. Twins beat Kansas City 11-1. They scored 8 runs in the first inning. The Twins are off tonight. Barbara, that's all for now. We'll have more tonight at 6.
Thanks, Tom. And still to come on Live at 5. Who's going to play the infamous Andrew Cunanan in a made-for-television movie? And homemade pizza is an easy dinner favorite, topped with lots of mozzarella cheese. But there's a way to make it even better. We'll show you when we come back. Country music fans are getting ready for one of the state's biggest festivals, We Fest. Thousands of campers and pickup trucks, cars, and motorhomes are already lining up just outside Detroit Lakes. The anxious horde is waiting to grab a prime campsite at the Sioux Pass Ranch for the annual mixture of music and mirth. The 3-day We Fest starts tomorrow and has been dubbed Heaven in 97. Dina Carter, John Anderson, Tanya Tucker, Lori Morgan, and Willie Nelson will be among the performers. Well, you knew it wouldn't take too long. One of the major networks is working on a TV movie about Andrew Cunanan. Steve Kometko has the details.
The manhunt for suspected serial killer Andrew Cunanan ended last week. Now a new search may begin soon in Hollywood for the right man to play him in a TV movie. ABC is developing a movie about the suspected killer of fashion designer Gianni Versace and 4 other men. Producers hope to shed some light on what sparked Cunanan alleged killing spree before he took his own life in Miami Beach. The network plans to air the movie sometime next year. Glenn Close and two-time Oscar-winning actress Meryl Streep are making their next movie a joint effort.
I cannot tell you any more than I already have. I'm sure you understand that.
Close, currently in the #1 movie, Air Force One, as Harrison Ford's vice president, is making a film called Mary Stuart, her next project. It's based on a play about the 16th century monarch. Both she and Streep are co-producing and starring in the movie. Streep plays Mary, Queen of Scots. Close is playing her cousin, Queen Elizabeth I. And you're looking at the first restaurant to bear the name of the king. But if you go there and ask for a Coke, you won't get a smile. An Elvis Pepsi can is being created to commemorate the opening of Elvis Presley's Memphis. The new Pepsi can is only available in Tennessee, Arkansas, and Mississippi. That's all for the E! Entertainment Report. I'm Steve Kometko.
The new Elvis restaurant's the only one ever to be sanctioned by his estate. We use mozzarella cheese with crackers or on sandwiches, especially, of course, on pizza. But Mr. Food says there's more than one kind of mozzarella. Let's go to the kitchen.
Everybody knows what mozzarella cheese is. You know, it's the mellow cheese that's used in so many of our Italian dishes like our pizzas and lasagna and baked ziti, because it melts so richly and so easily. We see it in little balls or slices or shredded, so it's handy for us to use however we want to. But there's another type of mozzarella that's being used very often lately, and we're getting questions about it. It's called fresh mozzarella. It's the truly old world, creamy, mild Italian mozzarella now being made right here in the States, and not like the standard mozzarella we're familiar with. This is so fresh and silky smooth that it's kept in water in the fridge. That's how we buy it, in tubs with water. And right now, with our summer gardens putting out so many fresh veggies, we can put fresh and fresh together the old way, which is a very popular new restaurant way also, as an appetizer. All it is slices of red ripe tomatoes, slices of fresh mozzarella, some basil, a drizzle of olive oil, a few seasonings, maybe a splash of vinegar. That is summer. Get out the crusty bread for dunking. And it'll work that way with any green salad. And it adds that touch of summer breeze to any pasta salad. And all of those white pizzas that are so popular right now, well, fresh mozzarella teamed up with veggies on a bought pizza base. And it's a light celebration. That's how well it melts. Now, there are a few brands. It's your choice in our deli departments or our cheese sections. So about those questions of what's fresh mozzarella? Easy. Ooh, it's so good.
Tomorrow, Mr. Food wraps up the week with a tribute to one of the simplest favorites. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Let's check back in with George at Spirit Valley Days. George.
Barbara, it is just fine out here. I think you'd like it. The temperatures are even reasonably warm. The breeze is a little pleasant out of the southwest, and some clouds are closing in. There will be a couple of scattered sprinkles around the region, but I don't think they're going to interfere with the parade, which is going to be starting at 6. If you have any sprinkles, they won't be too prolonged. Temperatures, lower 60s, maybe the upper 50s out around taconite. Then for tomorrow, a day similar to a couple we've had earlier in the week, except temperatures will be somewhat higher. A possibility of a late day storm, especially the southern parts of our area, which is about from Duluth and Superior on to the south in both Minnesota and Wisconsin. High temperature right around 80 degrees, but a brisk wind out of the southwest will help make that feel a little cooler.
Thanks, George. Well, yesterday, Michelle Lee went to Spirit Valley Days, and you just had a great time out there.
Oh, absolutely. The car show that was on Wednesday night, they normally have one Wednesday night, so this was a even more special one. They had 250 entries. A lot of fun walking in and out and seeing what was hot and what was not.
Well, George was sitting here drooling over the cars he could see.
Yeah, there were some lovely ones.
Cars.
And that parade tonight, they're having over 100 entries. That starts at 6 o'clock, and I guess that they say that this is going to be one of the best parades ever.
We'll have more details on that at 6 o'clock. What else you got at 6 tonight?
Well, I'll tell you what, the business of illegal drugs apparently is growing here in the Duluth or the Twin Ports area. A new group of dealers, now authorities believe a new group of dealers selling crack is here from Chicago, and police are fighting back. The latest bust brought 45 grams of crack cocaine off the street. Angela Wang will report on that story tonight at 6.
All right, thanks, Michelle. And that's Live at 5 for tonight. Thank you very much for joining us. Stay with us now. The NBC Nightly News is next, and I'll see you at 6 tonight from Park Point.